Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back, David Lukacs, CEO, Liquid Avatar Technologies, trades in Canada under LQID, for our friends in the US, LQAVF. Really, really big news today because it's real world, practical application of digital identity technology. And David and his group of Liquid Avatar, but David is the tip of the spear, has been pounding on digital identity for longer than anybody I know. And a lot of you heard me say this when we first met in Toronto, York region, sitting outside of a cafe, and he's talking to me about it 2.5 years ago. I said, David, I see this. I just don't see it coming anytime soon. And here we are. So what you need to know about the company is this. The genesis of the company is a global blockchain and personal identity company. So what they do is they empower individuals to manage, control, and generate value through their biometrically verified digital identity, while also providing businesses and governments the ability to easily integrate personal digital identity technology, which is pretty encompassing, in order to either create new business models or do better when it comes to government. More than just lip service, here's just one example. The Ontario government in 2021 released their digital ID strategy. And the quote from that press release was, Ontario is one of the first jurisdictions in North America to announce that it'll issue and enable digital credentials. That was really big. And then that was followed up by a press release out of Liquid Avatar, which is going to read that one. Liquid Avatar partners the Ontario Convenience Store Association to provide digital age verification solutions to over 8,000 stores. What's the news we're talking about today? Well, Liquid Avatar and the Ontario Convenience Store Association have now delivered a successful pilot of digital age verification solutions to reach those 8,000 retail locations. Let's talk about it. Exciting stuff. David, welcome back, my friend.
Wow, always a mouthful, George. Always a mouthful.
Well, I try and get that stuff out of the way because I
exactly.
want new people to know what it is we're talking about.
Sure,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
It'll take them 5-10 minutes to catch up. So this is big. And I love it because it's a real world application. But really quickly, for people who are new, give us that. This is more than just digital ID to prevent McLovin from buying liquor at a liquor store, right? So if we can just quickly, in broad strokes, review what digital age verification is. It's not just that; it's so much more.
Well, absolutely, George. I mean, age verification is used for a whole bunch of applications. It's used, if you want to receive cannabis at your house, right? When they deliver, and if you want to order things, sometimes online they actually age gate you. If you want to buy liquor, cigarettes, lottery tickets, it's a requirement to do age verification. It's a legal requirement, a government regulation to do age verification. And at convenience stores in Ontario, 3 million people pass through convenience stores, I believe a day. I think it's a day. And so at the end of the,
it's massive. Whatever it is, it's massive.
Whatever it is, massive. Sorry, I just lost my number there for a second.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a huge number.
It's a huge number. Anyways, and at the end of the day, it's really important that people are age verified, because the store, if they're not age verified, can be fined or lose their ability to sell a particular product. And in some cases, that small square footage that sells restricted age products can represent over 50%, almost 70% of their revenue. Tobacco, lottery tickets, all that kind of stuff. Any vaping products. And, there's been talk about, age restricting energy drinks. And the convenience stores are absolutely looking to get alcohol products, beverages into stores. So at the end of the day, this is an important factor for them. They've got a 96% success rate. They want to get it up to 100%. To do that, they've got to have something more than just you or I or our kids showing their ID at the counter and somebody looking at it saying, yeah, it's good, but it's expired, or it's fake, or it's this, or it's that. So we've put together a system that uses verifiable credentials based on your verified identity to prove to the store that you are at age or above to buy that product without ever revealing your personally identifiable information.
And that's the part that is, the first part's great, very important, but I think the second part is critically important, Because right now I walk into a place, not they won't ask me for ID, but if I'm on the bubble and I flash them my driver's license or something like that.
Yeah.
Even worse, if it's my wife or my daughter, they're flashing them. So now the person behind the counter can see the name, can see an address, can see, exact birth dates. Hell, I was even thinking if you got someone who's a really bad player, they can take a little snapshot with a little camera on them or something like that can capture all of that, and that causes a multitude of problems. So there's problems on both sides that you guys are going to solve through this.
Well, where are the pain points, right? Business accelerates based on pain points. Where are the pain points? For the consumer, the pain point is that I've got to show somebody identity that I don't want to show them. For the store, they want to increase this number to 100%, and the staff are well trained
and reduce risk to zero.
That's and for the government wants to proliferate digital identity. So this is a trifecta opportunity for everyone. And we've not only done this. This is really important. We've not only done this in a way that a store can verify it, but we've done it so it can be done through the payment solutions that they already have in place. So we can connect to point of sale systems. We can connect to payment rails. We can do all that type of stuff that fully commercializes this. And I believe, and I say this, we say this in the release, that we're the first of its kind, but I believe we're among the first in the world to do this.
Because the first thing you see at convenience stores when you're buying stuff is you see lottery tickets right in front of you, but you also see debit, credit, all those terminals right there.
Everybody
so
has
front and center. And you guys are going to be leveraging, which is so great. You guys are going to be able to leverage existing infrastructure to get this done. Right. So that's really big. So let's talk about the pilot. What the first announcement you put out with OCSA was that you guys are going to do this, that you got to embark together on this and get it done. So here you are, probably about 6 months later, give or take a little bit. And now you're looking at this pilot. What's the
Well, it's actually 3 months, George. We did it in October.
So wow, has it been that fast? I thought it was summertime, but you're right. You're right. So you guys are moving at lightning speed here.
We are delivering on our mandate. That has been our goal. Deliver on what we promised. That's how we're going to create shareholder value.
So how big was this test, and what's the significance of the fact that it went obviously well enough for you guys to announce we're moving the next steps?
It was an internal test. We've established a working group at the OCSA and its membership, and we got feedback from everyone on what we needed to do. We built around those needs, and we've proven to the OCSA management that we can do this. And now we're bringing it out to the members, and that'll be a pilot group of members. And it is a very diverse group. You've got single store operators, and we've seen many of those who walk in. Then you've got gas and convenience store operators, and you've got chain store operators. There's a lot of different players in this ecosystem. Yep. So there's a lot of nuances that we've got to accommodate for, but we've broken it down into a system that can work really anywhere, any place, at any time. So we're very, very excited about that. And it is, as you said, it's a real world application, but more so than just the real world application, it's got implications that go beyond this. This can extend to all types of other industries now that we're proving it in this industry.
Well, I was thinking casinos, bars, nightclubs, restricted movies. I mean, on and on and on and on.
And age gating online. Like we have technology that will allow us to, if somebody goes to an adult site or an age restricted store, or in Aftermath Islands, if you want to visit Cannabis Cove or Vegas Island, everything will be age gated, because that's the way it needs to be to comply with regulation.
So a lot of people have to be watching this. First of all, so the next step is an in-store pilot program. Mm-hmm. And if and when that goes well, then available to all 8,000 stores, right?
Agreed. And beyond.
I've got to think, even if we didn't talk about other industries, and we're going to talk about those in a second, even if we didn't talk about other industries, convenience stores is massive in North America. So is it fair to say, David, that other convenience store associations, first of all, just the British Columbia, the Quebec, the Manitoba, and then into the US, is it fair to say that some of them have to be watching this as well? Because if it goes well,
we're already discussing with other organizations. Like, I mean, this is, you want to get it out into the marketplace. And, we've made open invitations to other collaborators to come on board as well. So this, as I often say, it takes a village to raise a child, and we've done this part on our own, and we can continue to do it on our own. But there's great processors out there, major corporations that do card and transaction processing. There's great associations, chain stores, other organizations like bars, restaurants, whatever the case may be, that all can benefit from this. So this is, give them 8,000 stores is just Ontario. That's just Ontario.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, forget about every province, which would be massive. They talk about every state.
Well,
Every,
we're also in discussions, across the water. So it's we're
I
looking at
believe that.
this. Yeah, and
That's
we're
fantastic.
right. We're looking at that, and then kind of a shameless plug. This morning, we did our first. I'm co-chair of the VR/AR Association for the Metaverse Committee. I'm one of 4 co-chairs. We did our first event, and 100 people showed up, and one of the topics that rose up was the metaverse and identity. So, like, this is not going to be confined to just convenience stores. It's going to be everywhere,
Or in the
anywhere,
real world.
place,
Also gonna
anytime.
be, it's also going to be the metaverse.
Yeah.
If all goes well, David, if
Mhm.
the in pilot, the next is the in pilot store program.
Yeah.
So if that goes well, all goes well, ballpark, we're not trying to pin you down to a date, but how long until you think you're able to go to the market and say, okay, we have a working solution. We're taking on customers now en masse. How long until ballpark?
Well, I think if we break it down, Q1 is going to be all about getting the pilots done.
Sure.
That's really, and
Yeah.
as you saw, it's sort of Q4 we did our announcement. Q1 we're bringing out the technology.
It's fast.
You
You
know,
guys have moved
I
fast.
know, I know. Q1 we're also going to do our testing, and then we hope to be in commercialization in the next Q or so. And again, there's still a lot of real world testing to do, but we're very encouraged by the results so far, and we've shown it to some other parties, some very large parties, and they're shaking their head because some others have been trying to do it and just haven't been able to get done.
I'm shaking my head, and I don't shake my head very often. I've seen that. I've been doing this for 25 years. It takes a lot to impress me, and you guys are doing it. So yeah, I was thinking that even if it's Q3, commercialized by Q3, that's fine. I mean, that's
Well, yeah, and all our other products are commercializing too. Remember, digital identity, in our business, digital identity is at the core of everything we do. And around that, we've got our avatar. So once you have your digital identity, it's easy to give you, a very, not just our standard 2D avatars, but a very pervasive 3D avatar. And then from there, it means you can take that avatar and that digital identity and move it into the metaverse or the multiverse. It depends on what happens. So
it's amazing how you guys.
I know it's just, and we've been talking about this for well over a year.
And you're doing it. I got to give you credit.
Yeah,
we're good friends. We've been doing business for a long time. When you first talked about this, as a David, this sounds great. I can see it, but it's so far off that how do you build a business that you may be too early, and bang, you prove me wrong. By the way, let's talk about the business model. Since you talk about that, you talk about onboarding consumers and all that.
Sure.
Let's, shareholders are watching, potential shareholders are watching.
Sure.
How does Liquid Avatar? Let's just talk about the convenience store real world application, and then and I guess that would kind of be for all the other real worlds. How do you guys make money? How do the shareholders see value generated?
Well, there's still, again, it's still early days. But any convenience store or any location pays every time they transact with the credit card or debit card. There's a fee. Now we're not looking at that type of fee structure to be much smaller, but there is pay as you go. There is the opportunity for subscription, and there is an opportunity. We believe we have interest from sponsors as well that will offset the cost for small. Well, you think about it. There are organizations, whether they're government, crown corporations, product companies, that would be happy to ensure that their constituents are at 100% verification. It just makes their job easier, right? It's if, and I'll use an example. If tobacco companies are on both sides of the fence, they want to sell more tobacco products, of course, but they also become much more socially responsible. So they want to ensure that the products are in the hands of the people who are of age restriction or age verification or qualification. because it makes their job easier when they go to governments. So, and the same with alcohol beverages and lottery tickets and everything else. These people have marketing budgets that may want to support this program. So there's lots of different avenues that we're looking
Yeah,
at.
another touch point makes sense.
Mhm.
It's another
Yeah,
touch point.
and even it's funny because if you think about the demographic is perfect for our metaverse. So Aftermath Islands is looking at becoming one of the sponsors because it makes sense. If there's lots of avenues, it's the right demographic. If you've got
Hey,
the
you've
right
got
demographic,
hey
you can
George,
afford
you've
it.
got a digital ID. Want we
Come on in. The
to
water's fine.
well, look, come on in. The water's fine. So going back to the business model, so it sounds like
Mhm.
hopefully, if all goes well, you're gonna have thousands of locations that are either pay per per event or most likely subscription, right? So I got
Yeah,
George's convenience store, and I
sure.
say, hey, I'll pay whatever. I'm just X amount of dollars per month,
Mhm.
but stack thousands of locations paying that every month,
Well,
and you got incredible cash flow, starting to come into the
well, let
company.
me give you an example because I'm going to give you an example which isn't pertinent to Canada, but in the UK, they have someone in the self-serve checkout area that at supermarkets that does age verification. They stand there. Someone stands there 80 hours a week. Okay, at even at minimum wage, which is about let's say about $15 an hour, right? So you've got 80 hours of
Twelve
supermarket
hundred. It's
field,
$1,200 a week.
right?
Just they got to
Right.
pay for something,
Just
and then hey,
just to verify identity, just to verify identity. We can in just less than a couple of hours, we can replace that entire expense. Now, it doesn't mean we suggest that the storefront move someone out the
yeah.
door,
You're
right?
not
We're
Doctor
but
Evil, but that's gonna happen. Unfortunately,
right, but the
that's gonna
fact
happen.
is that this is so valuable, and if it supports the ability for convenience stores to get other products into their mix, it means they have a better opportunity for success. And corner stores, especially during the pandemic, have been literally the backbone of some communities.
Yeah, yeah.
Where larger stores have closed or been restricted, convenience stores. We might think of convenience stores as a small location or variety store in our area. But in some rural locations, these stores represent the main opportunity to
Yeah,
buy,
absolutely.
ready to go groceries. So we're really excited about this on a business level, on a social level, on a even to support the political wins that might be out there. I mean, the Ontario government has not released their digital identity. They're looking potentially for winning opportunities. We believe that this could be a winning opportunity for the Ontario government and some of the other players in the industry. But George, I also want to be very clear about this. It doesn't just do identity and age verification. We can now do COVID credentials, vaccination credentials that are tied to your identity. So we can assure that when you walk into a restaurant, we could do two things. Walk into a restaurant and ensure that you're age verified and that you've got your credentials at the same time.
Or
So
any
there's
credential,
lots of different
any
applications.
credential that might be necessary
Mhm.
at any place of business.
Yep. Yep.
David, by the way, I was about to end the interview right there, but I do want to mention, or I do want to say this. Can I infer, because I'm a really smart guy, can I infer from you knowing that in the UK there are people who are paid to sit there in convenience stores at all 80 hours a week? You know that because you're speaking to convenience stores or those kind of stores in the UK? Because that seems like an oddball piece of information to know, unless
Well,
you know it for a business reason.
well, look. We're talking organizations around the world. We're not sitting at home. I've mentioned this before in a recent report by Gartner on emerging digital technologies and digital identity. They named well over a dozen companies. The list is exhaustive, but they identified about a dozen companies. I think two of them were in Canada, and one of them was us. And some of the other players included people like Microsoft and Mastercard and IBM and Jumio. So we were in really really good company. And the other thing too is I just want to mention this because I think it's really important. Identity is going to become more important to the metaverse simply because I mean Microsoft's recent announcement. I know we'll get to it at another time, but for $69 billion for Blizzard, World of Warcraft has been, and I've played World of Warcraft for 20 years, so I'll admit that.
Nerd.
But thank you. I resemble that remark. But at the end of the day, I can open up 20 accounts. There's no gating for anything. So we see this as a massive opportunity offline in the real world and online in the digital world for so many reasons. And age verification, starting in the province of Ontario, is really great, and we're really pleased to be here.
Well, I'll end it with this. If anybody out there is watching because you're just getting to know Liquid Avatar and David right now, and you're thinking, yeah, this guy's reaching for the stars because he thinks it's got implications in gaming and metaverse. Remember one thing. This is the guy who sat down with me 2.5 years ago at a cafe north of Toronto and said, this is coming. And I'm a tech guy and I didn't see it coming. I saw it coming, but not this fast. That's for sure. He blew me out of the water. He did it. He was way more right than I thought I was. So if he was right then, when it still wasn't in the mainstream conversation, technology applications, tech didn't even really exist, you can bet he's probably right now. And David, we're betting on you. Congratulations on another amazing milestone with Ontario Convenience Stores. And can't wait to have you back on next time. I know we're going to talk about probably metaverse stuff, but I can't wait to also have you back for digital ID and the in-store pilot program.
Thank you, George. Great to be here. Thank you.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or been listening by podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to David Lukacs, CEO of Liquid Avatar Technologies, LQID in Canada, LQAVF in the US. Get to their Gorecom profile to get the 1,000-foot view. Then from there, link over the company's website to do your deep dive diligence. Don't say we didn't tell you so. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Gorecom small cap video.